We are live. Abora Boye, Aboshi Shade. It's I, Ifa Kolade, Umilade, Fatosin, here with Aloye Ifa Karade, Aloye Baba Ifa Karade. We are Sacred Waters Healing Temple and Karade Nation. Happy Easter, happy Orisha Sunday.
We caught that.
Welcome, Pastor.
I got you, Pastor. Okay. All right.
Don't be like that. Don't be like that. I see you're well dressed today, Pastor.
I'm well dressed every day, sis. You you might just be noticing me a little different today. Got my coral beads on. I'm
Mm-hmm.
standing out with the authority, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing that because I have risen.
I
Okay.
have risen as well.
I have risen. Okay. And that's going to be the message today. So all of the Easter people, and those associated, one love. Because as I've stated time and time again, what people do in their religious construct and context, that doesn't stop us from loving them. They could
No.
be family, they could be friends, they could be folks we don't even know or half don't even care about. But the whole thing is, we realize that all of it is a construct based on theocracy, and a theocratic state determines, even dictates what people are going to believe, how they're going to believe it, and what happens when they don't.
What happens when they don't? Heavy on the what happens when they don't.
Beyond the what happens if they don't. Okay, so because we understand, because see, our pragmatic approach just isn't limited to Ifani Sheshe. Our pragmatic approach encompasses life,
Hmm.
society, those who are members of that society, regardless of the social economic state of being pushed.
Hmm.
So we're all impacted by a theocratic society. And just like Islam have their theocratic societies, everybody needs to kind of dress a certain way, everybody kind of needs to be a certain kind of way, everybody needs to worship a kind of way.
Hmm.
You understand? That's because the people in charge say so.
Right.
And if you don't do it, you can be ostracized by others within your community, even in your family,
Yes.
you
Hmm.
know, or you can be hauled off by ICE of the state. They'll send soldiers out. They'll send you to prison. As a
Hmm.
political prisoner. You know what I mean? And they'll say, "Well, you don't believe."
Yeah.
So therefore, like during the Inquisition, oh, you don't believe in Christ, you don't believe in Christianity, well, we're going to torture your ass.
Yeah.
We're going to hurt you, and
In
we're
so
going to
many. Yeah.
make no, well, in all many ways,
Yeah.
physically, physically, we're
Hmm.
going to burn you. We're going to chop off body parts. The Inquisition was horrible. It was terrible. You either, like jihad, either you submit or die by the sword.
Mm.
See, we have to understand that. And the repercussions of that in terms of epigenetics for our people enslaved
Hmm.
700 years, forced into Christianity. And this is not an opinion. This is a fact. This is not, my way is better than your way. This is an observation. I am a scholar. I am a scientist of the mind. You understand? So I get it. Even when those who are under that threat, really, what? You ain't going to church? Or what? Lord ain't going to bless you. You're going to go to hell. And Christ rose on the third day. He died for our sins and all that kind of stuff. Well, if he died for our sins, why are we still sinning? But the whole thing is, I understand it. And I want those of us in Ifani Sheshe to understand it as well so that we don't become like them.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
you study your enemy. A, because you don't want to be defeated, and B, you don't want to become like them because now you're going to be somebody else's enemy because you just doing the same thing somebody else that was being done to you,
Wow.
you know? So that whole kind of, okay, it's Easter, okay, it's Passover, or okay, it's Ramadan, or, okay, it's this and the okay, is that, I'm like, well, okay, okay, okay.
Mhm.
And we can be lighthearted about it because we don't mean any harm. We're not judging anybody,
Mhm.
So for the day, if I'm going to be Pastor Carey Day, then I need for everybody to take out the good book and don't forget to pass around the plate. And I'm
Before
talking
we
plate with the chicken on it. I'm talking about the plate with the money on it. Okay.
with the Velcro on the inside or whatever that is, with
Yeah.
velvet in the inside.
Yeah, got the gold
Nice.
lining around it.
We came in hot, guys. Bora Bora, yeah, you guys, thanks for joining. Alafia to
Hmm.
you and Alafia Rain coming in. Welcome back. Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. And if you returning, thank you for returning. We are on Orisha Insights talking about prayers again, second part of prayers. If you were a part of the discussion last week about prayers, let us know what you thought about that. Just leave a little
Hmm.
comment or something if you was able to take something. I liked a lot of you guys' insight last week. Really nice, really nice, really nice. But so if you don't mind sharing the YouTube, share the Facebook, and let us know where you're viewing from. Matter of fact,
Mm. Okay.
yeah, let us know where you're viewing from today.
All right.
Welcome, Nyasia. Thank you for joining us again. Yeah, Arisha Nyasia.
Yeah. Ifalana. I love you, Ifalana.
That's her name.
Mm-hmm. Ifalana.
Nice.
Yeah. Down there
Ifala.
in Georgia. Yeah, so we're just coming in good people with the lightheartedness of deep spirit, and all in all, we're not condemning or nor condoning anyone who does, but we're going to have our moments,
Mhm.
where we revisit our childhood. Okay, so it's Easter time. Okay, and it's like, all right, 99% of us are Christian orientated, and 99.9% of us are influenced, impacted by Abrahamics. Okay, we're here to say that that doesn't stop us from loving you.
Mhm.
Okay, it doesn't. Now, it may have stopped you from loving us, and questioning, but it takes two for hate to expand itself exponentially.
Mhm.
You know, like it's people say, well, it takes two to argue, kind of,
Mhm.
So we're here to say that if that's what you believe, then that's what you believe. Okay? We would also like for you to understand if this is what we believe, then this is what we believe. And if this is how we approach life with Ifa Isheshe, pragmatically, we're not doing it for your approval. We're not doing it for your stamp of approval or the white gaze, as Toni Morrison called it.
Ooh.
Somebody looking over your shoulder. Oh, well, that's okay, but no, that's not okay. And you can do this. No, but you can't do that. We're not your children, okay? And we daggone sure are not your slaves, right? So you keep putting pressure psychologically on us now, but we are resisting not because we hate you, nor do we want you to be destroyed. Many of you are us, but what we do want to continue is our ancestral way, is our ancestral understanding. We wouldn't believe anything that you believe if somebody didn't tell you to believe it, and now you telling us to believe it.
Mhm.
If you experience spirit, we've been experiencing spirit since the beginning of time. But depending on where you are in terms of time, space, and place, and what regime you're under, okay, then you are put into a state of mind where you interpret and name spirit in a certain form and a certain acceptable fashion, even down to the sacred scriptures, biblical, Quranic, Bhagavad Gita, okay, Oduifa. All of them are lenses through which we perceive our world. And most importantly, how we perceive ourselves. And I say that with emphasis, how we perceive ourselves, not how we perceive just the world or others in the world, but most importantly, how we perceive ourselves. And those of you who were with us last Sunday, prayer one, we left with that understanding that prayerfulness is an internal directive, is an internal, because if we pray outwardly and do not transform ourselves inwardly, we are basically reciting, you know? We are imitating. We are not transforming ourselves. We are not becoming innovators within our own life, within the context of ourselves. And this is what Ifani Sheshe give us an opportunity to do.
Mm.
Embrace that opportunity from the pragmatic approach. Okay. And by pragmatic, we mean something that's applicable, something that is a working mechanism in terms of what are we doing with this? What does Arumila, our prophet figure, say that we should be doing with this? Elevating ourselves
Mm.
pragmatically, not hypothetically, not surreally, not otherworldly, but right here, right now, change your ways. Right here, right now, uplift and elevate not just your spirit, but you. Okay. And so that brings me to, uh, and I'll put this out, and then we'll uh, take a moment to see what the good people have to say. Okay. To prayer. Okay. Prayer in Ifa, the context of Ifa, is known as Adora and or Iwore.
Adora
Yeah,
or e-
Aeura.
mhm.
Okay. So when we speak of Adora, prayer, praying, and we speak of Iwore, and again, I use the terms interchangeably. There may be fluent Yoruba speakers who would question that, but
Mhm.
you know, we know that we are not only using a different word, but we are also bringing a different connotation. What does prayer mean to us,
Mhm.
who are not consumed by Abrahamic concepts?
Mhm.
For example, do we just pray to one God, you know, and prayers to anything else is considered blasphemous
Mhm.
or non-Christian or non-Abrahamic? You know what I mean? So I I embrace Ifa because it kind of recognizes that prayer is an acceptance of goodness. And if that goodness can be found within one's spouse, then we say Ire,
Mhm.
okay? Ire Aya, blessings of the wife, Ire Oko, blessing of the husband, Ire Omo, blessing Awon Omo, blessing of the children. You understand? So we
Mhm.
we are we are we are starting to see that individuals within our lives
Yeah.
have goodness that they bring to us and goodness that they bring out of us. And we become prayerful within that context of Ifa and Isheshe. Perhaps not in the context or the concept of the Abrahamics, but that's them. On this side of the river, we got something else going on.
Mm.
See? So I can look at someone who has been close to me, dear to me, and brings out the best in me and say, not so much you're a godsend or God bless me, to have you. That's a concept. But no, I'm honoring you.
Mhm.
I'm honoring the goodness in you.
Mhm.
And that is a powerful statement because now my coexistence with you is on a whole nother level,
Mhm. Yeah.
you know? And that puts you on a whole nother level because you don't want to let not me down, but you don't want to let yourself down. And imagine being raised with that kind of mindset. And even if you don't follow it 100%, at least you know it's there. Okay? So we have all kinds of blessings within Ifa and Isheshe that aren't under the umbrella, if you will, of Olodumare, as which is different than everything good from the Abrahamics comes from God,
Yeah.
you know, and everything evil comes from Satan and demons, and and then it depends on what church you're in, what's good and what's evil, to get kind of confusing, and what Bible you're reading, because they're like 4 or 5 different versions. You know what I mean? And then what branch of Christianity are you in? They're all born out of Catholicism, so you could be Protestant, Baptist, Jehovah Witness, or take your pick.
Mhm.
But what's good in one is not necessarily good in the other. And all of them embrace the enslavement of our people. Let's not forget that. Every last one of them. Okay. The leader of the Ku Klux, the founder of the Ku Klux Klan was a pastor. So, that again, that's not a put down. It's just an understanding of the psychological play,
Mhm.
psychological warfare. Now, what is it about prayer then that supersedes all of that? That says, okay, that's true no matter where you go. You know, the Buddhists fought against the Hindus. Okay, Buddha himself was born a Hindu, like Christ was born a Jew,
Mhm.
but they saw so many weaknesses in it that they brought about a certain level of change. Now, I'm not comparing myself to any of them, but I see weaknesses in Ifani Sheshe, and I definitely see weaknesses in the Abrahamics. So I want to bring about change. Okay, because of the love that I have for my people, regardless of what they believe in, because I know why most people believe in what they believe, because they've been socially engineered to do it. They've been emotionally, embraced to do it. And all of that is understandable. But that doesn't mean we have to stay there. It just means we can grow from that soil. If it's good soil, then it will allow seeds to grow.
Ashe.
If it's good,
Mhm.
it'll be like my grandmother saying to me, I don't understand what you into, but I know it must be okay because I see you doing better.
Mhm. I'm good with that, Grandma.
Yeah, you understand? So it's not like, oh, what you doing? The Lord don't want you to do this, do that, and then Jesus, da. No, no, that's not how it needs to be. So
Mhm.
at any rate, so we're all praying, okay, and try to follow me, people, because I'm risen today. I've I'm unearthed, you know? So then what is prayer? If everybody's praying to something and no one is really seeing the Iwure, basically, and I'm going to say everyone, and generally speaking, we're not prayerful unto one another.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we could sit in the pew and pray to Jesus and God, or makes a lot, do a whole lot of things, but and hold animosity against people sitting right next to us.
Your son and daughter.
Hmm. Okay, because we're not seeing not just the spirit. Oh, I noticed the spirit in you. Namaste, namaste. I recognize the spirit in you. But yeah, but that don't mean it's a good spirit, and that doesn't mean I'm seeing clearly. What we got to come to understand is that when we become prayerful unto ourselves, we recognize the prayerful goodness of others,
Mm-hmm.
be they close or far. Like, I've been teaching the hood 40 something years before retirement, and the whole nine. I taught from kindergarten all the way on through college.
Mm.
Oh, them some bad kids. Oh, these kids don't know this, and those kids don't know that, and this one this and this one that, and blah blah this and blah blah that. I said, "Well, shh, 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 shh."
Mm-hmm.
Because see, you just came from church,
Right.
and these are our children.
Mm-hmm.
And every time you say that, you're not only reinforcing that undoing in your mind in terms of the goodness that you have to bring, you're undoing it in their mind. You don't have to even say it to them. They can tell by the way you walk,
Mm-hmm.
by the way you approach them,
Mm-hmm.
how you feel about them. And so here I come in. I'm a prayerful individual. I see the goodness in them. I see the situations that have twisted them, mutated some of them. They're just real difficult to deal with. But it's like, I'm going to love you anyway, even if you don't want me to, even if you don't know how to accept it,
Mm-hmm.
because I see the goodness in you, because I see the goodness in myself. And I pray not for you, but I pray into you that goodness. That's
Mm-hmm.
the difference between Ifan Sheshe and the Abrahamics. This is what our ancestors left for us as their legacy of comprehension. Now, prayer in a deep sense in terms of study is under the power of suggestion, the power of suggestion. And we might call it Ofo Ashe, Ofoase, Ofo Ashe, the power of the spoken word. And a lot of people want to embrace that as, the bewitchery, you know. Oh, I'm gonna put a curse on them. You know what I mean? I put a spell on you, you know. And my grandma put a spell on your grandma. She's gonna set her soul on fire. You understand? So it's like we associate the power of the word with wickedness,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not the way that our ancestors associated it. No more than the Pope praying over something and believing that his words have enough power to bring about a particular or specific change. That's the power of the word.
Mm-hmm.
And as stated in Genesis, it's like, okay, in the beginning, there was the word, the power of the word. The question becomes, well, if in the beginning there was the word, who was there to hear it? And there's sound and in outer space, those two don't connect,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So it's like, okay, so where is this word really originating from? Where does the voice originate? Where does the voice of any creature originate? Okay. Is there sound in space, or is there sound that comes from the creation of all creatures upon the earth? We are living testaments of prayer because of our voices. We are living testaments of all creatures who voice their existence. That bird chirping on the branch is a prayerful noise unto the spirit of our existence. You understand? The sound of rain, okay? The sound of children laughing is the ancestor's voice. You see, when we lower, the gravity of our understanding, a whole universe opens up. When we just keep putting ourselves up and out there, not being grounded, then we lose the relevance of the prayerfulness. And when we lose the relevance of the prayerfulness, we lose the relevance of the goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Erase the goodness of our existence. And as I shared last week, Ifa Sheshe is not my religion, it's my existence. Because we now are breaking out of these religious, confines. Oh, you got to pray like this, and you have to say these words. And if you don't, then the ancestors don't hear you, or the Orisha don't hear you. And if you don't do this, you don't do that, and you do this, and you do that, and all of a sudden you're just a puppet on a string.
That's it.
Okay, you're not free enough to hear your own prayer unto and into yourself. So how you going to see it somewhere else?
Mm-hmm.
We're just imitators, just imitators, and we're rewarded on how good we imitate.
That's true. Yeah. So that's whoever does it the best dress, they get to come up, the best shouting, hooting, and hollering. They get to go be on spotlight.
Mhm.
And if you don't, then a lot of if they are not chosen, then they leave out of the church bitter and scorn and upset
So all
because
that,
they wasn't able to sing in the choir or be a part of the dance
right?
team, spirit team. Just Asia, she says, this is good. I've often wondered on my journey in Ifa how to honor my loved ones, friends, spouse, in my thoughts and prayers, seeing the prayerful goodness in my tribe. Ashe.
All right, Ifalana. All right, she gets it, and they all get it. So now back to the power of suggestion, because see, we look at prayer as the power of suggestion. It is a psychological mechanism. You understand? It's a psychological mechanism. Self affirmations, okay? Psyching oneself up. These are all part of the chant song that we say from a religious and spiritual context, okay, within the framework that, oh, this is prayer,
Mhm.
okay? Right? Now, in another context, so a group of athletes get together and they start, talking, yeah, we're the best. Da, 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 da. Yeah, 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 yeah. Get riled up. We're gonna kick ass. We're gonna make this thing happen. Yo, yo, yo.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh well, that's not prayer because it's not in the church.
Or what about those that are in fraternities whenever they're doing their what do you call that? It's a line, something I forget what they call it. But you know what I'm
Mhm.
talking about?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. You know,
Yeah.
it's all prayer, but we just categorize things. Okay,
Mhm.
like say I work out. Well, do you go to the gym? Well, I got to go to the gym.
Oh, you ain't doing nothing.
Yeah, you're right. You ain't really working out.
Going to the mountains, hiking. Hell, going to the farm and tilling the soil is. I didn't make it to the gym, but I am outside in this heat early in the morning.
Exactly. I'm sweating it out, you know, with a rucksack on. I'm carrying 30 pounds for 3 miles, you know. So my whole thing is, see, it's where we put things. Once
Mm-hmm.
we dismantle that mind cage that says, well, it's prayer over here, but it's not prayer over there.
Mm-hmm.
It's working out over here, but I don't know what you call it, but you ain't at the gym, you don't have a personal trainer, so you ain't doing nothing. So you see, now when we start looking at it all, now that we are free, and say it's all about the power of suggestion, and it's all about the affirmations, which are empowering. Okay, you have direct power of suggestion. Okay, where it's just straightforward. Okay, what I'm praying for is what I'm praying for this job. I'm on my knee every night. God, Lord, please give me this job. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm broke. Okay, we can put the power of suggestion indirectly, metaphorically. Okay, as in
Mm-hmm.
scripture said, those who work hard to attain the goodness of the earth will reap what they sow and all of that. No, basically we're saying, look, I need this job. Okay, but we
Yeah.
put it in poetic form.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's what they call permissive, what's called permissive. And that is now we make choices in our prayers. Okay, we make choices. So we are dealing with the power of suggestion. We auto suggest. We group suggest. Well, if we all just get together and pray for sister, she gonna be delivered from her illness.
Mm-hmm.
And there is you know scientific data that states that something does happen because it's a transference of energy,
Mm-hmm.
what psychologists would call is a stream of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So when we pray together, we ignite a stream of consciousness. And that stream of consciousness does have an impact. It does,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what God you pray to, or what angels or saints or whomever or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's folks banging their head against a brick wall, making prayers, the Jewish thing. The Meccas,
Mm-hmm.
they walking around the big stone, you know.
Yes.
We get a couple of little rocks in our pot, and it's like, oh, y'all demons. But okay, but I, I just took a trip and I saw people, banging their head against the wall, praying for whatever, and then people walking around this big old stone praying to whatever. And now I got a couple in a little, clay pot, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm demonic.
Yeah.
You see, back to context. Context. What other people tend to do and see as their way or the best way. Well, I go to the
Mm-hmm.
gym, so if you don't go to the gym and work out, then you ain't doing nothing. Or I went to college and I got masters and PhD. Or you didn't go to college, or you ain't smart.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yes, I am. I'm smarter than you. Watch me work. I want you to be real clear because I'm gonna be real transparent.
Mm-hmm.
No, you see, it's the same thing, and that's why we just have to embrace what we have and empower ourselves and elevate ourselves beyond the social engineering and the conditioning of the mind, right down to our so called spirituality and our so called religiosity. Because, see, all of that could be blown up in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, could be blown up in a minute. Invasion,
Yeah.
conquering a natural disaster,
Hmm.
big old flood come. Church people was getting COVID and dying just like people who wasn't church people.
Yeah.
You see, so it all matters, but it's a small part of what I call the pie graph.
Hmm.
The greater part of the pie graph that overshadows everything in a positive sense is our existence. Are we prayerful? Are we offering suggestions, auto suggestions to ourselves, our affirmations, suggestions to others, okay, to enrich and enhance our lives, not our beliefs, because those structures of beliefs, they're temporary and, as they say, man-made.
Yeah.
Okay, and they could be just get invasion from freaking outer space, and they come up with a whole nother theory of what religion is and what spirituality is and what a god force is, and they tell us y'all ain't even little kids, you just still in the womb,
Mm.
you don't know nothing, you know. Christianity is only 2026. We've been on this planet developing for 65,000 years. So all of a sudden, this is it.
Hmm.
And we keep telling ourselves that, and we keep telling our children that, we are continuing the conditioning process. Okay? But again, if that's what people choose to do, then that's what people choose to do. But I'm here to say that it's all about suggestions, it's all about affirmations, and it's all about self affirmations, what we construct within ourselves. And then that goodness becomes a part of everyone we encounter.
That's right.
What what a resurrection that is. Okay.
Mm.
Any questions or comments before I go on to page 2 in the good book? This is the good book, y'all.
Where can we find that good book?
Right over here at Mount Oloye,
Zion.
yeah, Zion Church of Ifa. Okay.
I don't think people realize
Mm-hmm.
just how deep it goes. I remember whenever I went to Nigeria, and literally, I would say probably like every 5 steps, there's a church. There's a Oh Thy Mercy Fellowship or Grace for Thee or something. It's like, and it's not another misconception about parts of Africa, certain
Mm-hmm.
countries, and the cities within, they are not all living in huts. Okay. And so these houses, these compounds, these stores, small shops,
Mm-hmm.
they turn them into little churches.
Mm-hmm.
They could be just living out of it, and they really will just go ahead and slap um, a banner up there that says
Mm-hmm.
something about Christianity. And many of us here in the diaspora would really just think that, okay, we found Ifa Sheshe, this West African spiritual system, and this is the way that they do it out there. And then they get out there and they're highly disappointed. You're gonna like, especially individuals who leave their families, leave grandma, grandpa, leave this old country, Georgia city. I'm tired of being, or whatever, ain't
Mm-hmm.
nothing happening here, and thinking that there's more outside, more in another country.
Mm-hmm.
you know it's even deeper. The wound is much more deeper in those other parts of the
Yeah.
world. And in fact, a lot of people have gone right back to it because to them that's their golden ticket to prosperity or
Mm-hmm.
higher education or to community, acceptance of whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
us gathering something that we consider was old, that we not just consider, that we know
Mm-hmm.
that is old, we've been informed that it's old tradition, it's ancestral tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Those back, they don't want nothing to do with that, not even down to our little herbal practices and remedies. They want Dove. because it's white, or the bleaching cream because it's that. It's a lot that goes into it, even down to the doo black soap. I
Yeah.
remember I used to sell that at the
Hmm.
vending events that I would go to, and I'm like, this is what I actually enjoy making my soap out of.
Yes.
Well, when I went over there, I'm like, well, where can I find this
Hmm.
doo soap? Thinking
Uh-huh.
it's an abundance of body butter and shea butter once I get there. No,
Right.
they come and bringing me bars of soap that is like, I don't know. So it's
Dial soup and all that.
I'm like,
Ooh.
I don't want that.
Right. Right.
I'm like,
Right.
there's a whole lot going on here, to try to deconstruct.
Yeah. Yeah. And the deepness of what you're saying, as those of us who have traveled to the motherland, okay, the storefront churches that we call
Yeah.
them, the storefront churches,
Hmm.
and there's some um, tax relief from that.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Okay, so all right, so you got that the
Hmm.
the the financial thing happening. Um, you also have people who relatedly might try to open up a large business, like say
Hmm.
there's this abandoned factory.
Yeah.
Okay, after some of the Europeans were either kicked out or voluntarily left, you
Hmm.
know, post 1950s, 60s, Kwame Nkrumah. Okay, and these places become churches,
Hmm.
not income making businesses.
Right.
And people like, oh, well, they all ended. Well, A, you need big money to start a big business.
Yeah.
And if the government and the banks are dependent, I won't even say codependent, dependent on European trade and European banks, then you're
Hmm.
not going to get that money to put machinery back in there to hire people
Hmm.
to work. So you make it into a church.
Hmm.
And you basically reap the benefits of it at the people's expense because now you got a place where you got people believing in the God of the conquerors
Hmm.
as if that will somehow bring about an upliftment of the socioeconomic structure.
Hmm.
And it does,
Yeah, I will.
basically for the pastor, because now he
Right.
got jets
Yeah.
and a Mercedes, and the people still cooking in one pot.
Hmm.
You see? So
Hmm.
now the whole problem with all of this becomes prayerful, okay? Because those who are in religious positions, if they're not bringing forth that prayerfulness in terms of, I see the goodness in this community, I see the goodness in you, I see the trees, not the forest.
Hmm.
I'm looking at you. And so, whatever is brought to us communally, I'm going to make sure it goes back out communally.
Hmm.
But if I'm just there manipulating the situation and hyping up the God of the conquerors, I'm
Hmm.
doing that not because I'm super religious or super even believing. I'm
Hmm.
doing it because it works for me.
Yeah. In God we trust.
In God we trust. Yeah, to make me a rich person
Hmm.
and everybody else.
Hmm.
So, it becomes a whole nother kind of discussion, which I'm sure that we'll have. And again, I'm not trying to blast anybody, but the truth is truth. And as I stated, when I put this day out, okay, it's a oro otito, words of truth. This is truth. And you can say, oh, well, my pastor's not like that. No, 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 that. I've known too many people who say, look, Pastor, I'm in a dire situation. I need money to pay my rent this month. my whole family has been giving to the church for generations. I need $5,000. People
Mm-hmm.
like you crazy
Yeah, sure will.
because it's not about the circulation of goodness. It's a one-way street. And then when we come over to Ifani Sheshe, in all fairness, we'll find the same thing.
Yeah, because I remember hearing a story about a woman that had uh,
Mhm.
basically she was preparing her life insurance, like the beneficiaries
Okay.
to go
Mhm.
to an elay. Now, it's not to say like it's wrong or anything, but I
Right.
also know contrary that there are people who
Mhm.
prey on the elderly
Yes.
for their temples or for their their churches and stuff to
Right.
join them.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah. It's real interesting, you know, but this is where we don't want to be.
yeah.
And that's why I'm understanding of religion, but I'm not looking to make anybody religious.
Hmm.
You know, I'm just not, because there is a way for us to exist and coexist without those confines nor those constraints. But let's go
Hmm.
back to prayer, if we ever left it. Okay?
Okay.
Because see, this is prayerful. What we're doing, okay?
I'm just acknowledging the comments.
Yes, yes, please do. Go ahead.
Dre's mentioned we are indoctrinated away from our reality and in humanity in the name of religiosity. And then Aloye Adiola
Mhm.
also says Alafia family. They're just coming
Okay.
in.
All right.
Yeah.
Lafayette Adeola. And a great statement, Bro Dre. All right. So let's look at prayer, okay? With focus. We already talked about us being prayerful. We already talked about prayer needing to be that which is those words, those suggestions, those inner singing of birds and rain falling, upon the fertile ground.
Hmm.
The sound of it all is prayerful. And when we take our words as prayer, then we are either bringing about the enhancement of someone, or we are bringing about the detriment of someone. And then that
Hmm.
probably becomes the differentiation between a blessing and a curse.
Hmm.
But there's a psychological reality to that. If you are, back to the school situations, if you are constantly telling a child that they can't, or you won't ever be anything, you won't be this or you won't be that, or simply saying nothing to encourage that child,
Hmm.
that is a curse. You understand? But when you're like, ah, I know you're having a rough time, family situations, and all this and all that, but I see something in you, baby girl. I see something in you, and I know that you're going to make it. And not only that, I'm going to be here to help you. So if you ever need a reference, because I believe in you, but you need to believe in yourself. Now, see, that's a blessing.
That's a blessing. That's a blessing.
It is, because it has a psychological impact. Who can deny that? Who can say, oh, it doesn't matter what you tell a child? It
Mm.
doesn't matter what you say to someone. Oh, that
Hmm.
doesn't matter.
Or do matter. And I think that
Oh, you
on the
sound right.
on the
Mhm,
other side of that, I think
mhm.
that children that are going through experience, or even adults that's coming from experiences and stuff that may be exhausted or faced with conflict all the time, should be encouraged to do their own deconstruction of the mind, so they won't dismiss what is being said to them in those moments.
Right.
Because I know so often that even I've experienced that, where I'm going through life's experiences, but I still got a word for a person, but it's not being reciprocated or being received well because of what they're going through, or even unmet expectations,
Yes.
things like that. So they're not able to receive it. It's just like, no, she just,
Yes.
she's just saying something, she's just saying whatever. No, I'm not. I'm really praying onto you right now. This is the
Mhm,
best that I
mhm.
can give you right now.
Well,
um,
and that right now, again, coming from someone who'd worked, businesses and an educational field, that right now could be 4 or 5 months. That right now could be 2 or 3 years.
mhm,
See, this is where technique comes in, and this is where learning how to be prayerfully effective in
Mm-hmm.
a person's life. Nobody said it would be easy. Nobody said, oh, they're just going to up and, be whatever you praying for them to be. You
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm saying? It's like, no. And there may be times when you just have to say, I've done the best that I can do.
Yeah.
And that person may come back to you 3 or 4 years later and say, I was really hard headed. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't hearing you, but
Mm-hmm.
some things happen, and now
Mm-hmm.
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not just them, it's us too.
Yeah.
We can have expectations that aren't real.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we got to switch up our strategy. But now let's look at prayer. Is prayer a form of resistance?
Hmm.
Is prayer a form of resistance? And the answer is yes, it is. Prayer is definitely a form of resistance. And you might say, well, Pastor, since we pastor in today, what makes you say that? Well, congregation, what makes me say that is how you going to have good without resisting something that's bad? How you going to have health, good health, without resisting illness?
Mm-hmm.
You know? How you going to have strength without resisting that which makes you weak?
Mm-hmm.
You can't have one without the other. You can't be okay, all holy and mighty today, and then expect for the same thing to be there tomorrow. Because it's a whole nother day with whole new challenges. So you have to earnestly, continually strengthen yourself mentally, physically, spiritually,
Mm-hmm.
and even metaphysically. Okay. You have to work on it because other than that, you're just deluding yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get sick. Why? Because you wasn't keeping up with your health. You're in a situation. Why? Because you made a bad decision. You wasn't keeping your mind on the ball. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? So what happened to put you in this situation? Oh man, I missed that, or I hooked up and I got beat down. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now I got something that I can't easily get rid of in
Mm-hmm.
terms of my health. You understand what I'm saying? I can't pray this issue away.
Mm-hmm.
It got to be dealt with. You see, so when we get prayerful, we just so out that the Lord gonna bless us or the Lord gonna punish us and all. No, that's 99% you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're gonna be prayerful today, make sure that you're prayerful tomorrow. Because those forces that are coming against you, they're not resting, they're not taking a day off because you tired.
Find another way to get on you.
Exactly. They done found a way to get in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the pragmatic approach demands, in a very light-hearted sense, discipline, and that discipline brings about the desired effect. And what is the desired effect? Okay, the desired effect is existence and coexistence. There's nothing more spiritual than that. I'm telling you. Everything else can go away. We can be in the church praying and a bomb drop. Or that
Mm-hmm.
white boy walk in and shoot up our elders
Mm-hmm.
in the daggone church.
Resistance. It's so crazy.
Okay? So, we can't give it up to the Holy Ghost. We have to become the living embodiment
Mm-hmm.
of our faith, of our belief. And it states emphatically that we have to continually work on our existence and by default, we will better coexist. Okay. So, yes, prayer is a form of resistance. Like I said last week, you got two opposing teams and they getting ready to go at it. It's game time. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
This,
Mm-hmm.
this is real world action on a football field
Mm-hmm.
or a volleyball court. You know what I mean? Wherever. And one team over there praying their hearts out. Oh, we're gonna win. Oh, we're gonna pray to the Lord. Everybody get together. You know, and I was on football teams and all baseball teams and all kind of stuff. I know. Come on, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But the other team is doing the same daggone thing.
Yeah.
Only one of
Mm-hmm.
y'all, only one of us gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
And it might not be the one who prayed the hardest. It might be the one that is, practiced the hardest. It might be the one that has some star players who are sacrificing almost everything in order to advance in the sport.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So if prayer was an absolute, then we wouldn't be having this conversation because
Mm-hmm.
all we have to do is pray for whatever and we will get it.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Prayer is not an absolute. Let's come to understand that. There's some things that can happen to you that again you can't pray away. You just can't, you know? This
And
from
then
from disease to not being prepared for a job interview and not getting the job and you really strapped. You know what I mean? We can list it down up and down. But the whole thing is if we fall into this religious way of, well, if I just pray, I'm gonna get this absolute blessing,
yeah.
then I think that's being delusional. I think that's being delusional only in respect to that's what you're socially engineered to
Mm-hmm.
and think and
Mm-hmm.
that you don't have the strength to make your own way in life,
Mm-hmm.
but you do, and
Orisha.
we constantly demonstrated that we do, you know. And people, well, Harriet Tubman, oh well, she was a preacher woman and all that. Well, yeah, you can say that about her, but she was stone cold. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
she got done what she set out to do, and you
Mm-hmm.
might want to say it was because of the Lord, but I'm saying it was because of her.
Yeah. That reminds me. Even so, some for those who don't know, I have a spinal cord injury and I use a wheelchair. And I want to share that, like, I'm constantly being met with individuals who are reminding me that I'm in a wheelchair. Even today, like, I went out today, I had went to go get a rental car and somebody was watching me from afar, just get it situated. I had to put my hand control onto the pedal and the brakes
Hmm.
inside of the car, and they're watching me from afar. I broke my chair down, packed it into the car and everything. And they decided to approach me and say, "Wow, I just wanted to let you know how impressive that was because I just never seen it done." And in my
Hmm.
mind, I'm thinking like, "Why you didn't come help?"
That part. You see, you showing strength when you come offer assistance,
Because they
right?
offer assistance, but they
Mhm.
was just like they going on talking and talking, and I've heard it so many times. They decide, it's Easter, so they're in the spirit
Mhm.
or whatnot. It reminded me, the guy got a bigger plan for me. Like, don't even know me.
Yeah.
and and that God got a bigger plan for me, and that miracles happen. I remember, like, over 10 years ago, used to get so frustrated when I would hear somebody say that. But
Mhm.
being in my wheelchair for 15 years, nobody knows how. Like, not it's rare that anybody just directly asks how did that happen. They just
Yeah.
assume, and then with the assumption, it comes with that. that mentality of God has a bigger plan for you, or my cousin or my auntie was in a wheelchair and they got up and they just believed in the Lord and they started walking again, or something, like just putting that out there.
Mm.
And and whenever I hear you say like there's things that you just can't pray yourself out of, and it's not to say that, you know, I'm cursed or I deem
Exactly.
feel bad about my situation or whatnot, but those looking upon me immediately look at me like hurt, pain,
Yeah. To be
trauma.
pitied, you know.
Yes, all of that. Oh, you need a miracle. Something is wrong. Like all of that, but all the while, this is 15 years of something
Yeah.
prayer in my, as we're talking about, it's 15 years of
Well,
me look viewing the world from my perception, being seated from going from walking to being now seated and viewing the world from a different lens and
right.
seeing how constructed the ways of people's minds are.
Mm.
And so it just brings me a different insight. It's very it's a very in-depth insight. There go my
Right.
sisters. My sister just decided to join us as I'm speaking about this. Like she knows like people even come to her like, you think your sister not around anymore because she's in the wheelchair. My sister's probably like, my sister's not around anymore because of the wheelchair, because
See?
she can get up and go somewhere, and
Yeah.
she's not staying stuck anywhere in one place. And that's what people fail to realize, that just because something has occurred in their life, that doesn't mean that there hasn't been an internal transformation with
That's
that person that's going through that right there. Like some, you might receive something greater if you just sit and hear from a
mhm.
person that has experienced. I met another woman who has HVS or HSV or some
Mhm.
form of herpes or something like that. But she has
Right.
3 degrees in the healthcare industry, and she's out advocating for individuals who have gone through something like that. In no way has it allowed for her to stop it. She can't pray away what has occurred to her, but for
Right.
her,
Right.
she has been able to add something onto her life that allows for her to shift the minds that
Right.
there's, from one simple thing that happened at a nighttime with the individual whom she trusted,
Of course.
that has changed her life forever. This is what she decided to do with that. So it's a lot that I just.
Yeah. And see, first of all, you know, for sharing, you know,
Mhm,
I know it comes from deep, but see, that's how we have to be, and this is how being prayerful unto ourselves. Yeah, I can pray for you, but you know, that's like I can pour water over you. You understand? You know,
mhm,
I can baptize you. You know, I can initiate you. You understand? And each one of those stages has some form of prayer
yeah.
to some form of deity or divinity or divinity. But
Mhm,
until that individual becomes prayerful unto themselves,
mhm.
it's just initiation. You ain't no better now than you was when you got initiated. And that was
Yeah.
10 years ago. You know, we've been praying over you forever and you're still cutting up, cutting the
Mhm,
fool, you know,
mhm,
carrying on and whatnot. You know, it's more important that the individual comes to realize through trauma, through practice, understanding, or any combination of so many things, that if I don't pray into and unto myself, no matter what I go through or what happens to me,
mhm,
I'm not going to change. Not even people coming up to me, oh, you're a daughter of Obatala because you know, whichever, or the Lord is going to bless you. Well, I've been in this chair for 15 years. Okay.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Lord is going to bless me because,
I'm
hey,
blessed.
I'm still living and I'm blessing myself.
Yes. Yeah.
I've come to see the shiro inside of me. I'm affirming that I'm not going to let this undo me, like a soldier coming back from war, you know,
Mhm.
amputee. You
Yeah.
understand? You
Yeah.
know, or psychologically
Mhm.
done, post traumatic
Yeah. Yeah.
syndrome. So, you know, we have a disorder. So we have all of these real life impacts.
Mm-hmm.
And praying all out there, Abrahamically, that's one thing, but not even understanding what prayer is and the power of our own minds
Mm-hmm.
to bring about the upliftment
Mm-hmm.
and to see that prayer is not an absolute. Prayer, it can't be absolute because if that was the case, anything you pray for, you're going to get.
Yeah.
But when you pray for inner strength, there is a sense of absolute to that. Once you turn that prayer into discipline, once you turn that prayer into positive self affirmation, once you
Mm-hmm.
turn that prayer into, I'm not going to be embittered, I'm not going to be
Mm-hmm.
hateful, I'm not going to be destructive nor self destructive. I
Mm-hmm.
am a living testament unto and into myself. And I know that there are others who have a different agenda, who want
Yeah.
me to feel oppressed, who want me to be
Yes.
pitied and broken down and unable and unworthy and not
Oh.
even a human being, according
Mm-hmm.
to those who follow the children of Ham, you know, going back to
Mm-hmm.
Old Testament and Noah, since we're going to be biblical, well, you're the children of Ham and you've been cursed, all black people cursed, and all people other than white or the white man's burden, and you just keep
Wow.
going through all of this, and you in church saying this.
And people just go there and just sit and bow and pray, and they
To
okay with being. Yes, I am. I am of
right,
Him. I
and
am.
I'm a woman, and I'm menstruating, and so it's a sin. I've been cursed by God. you know, I'm like, okay, so back to is prayer now a form of helplessness or helpfulness? Is prayer helpful or does it make us helpless?
In most cases, I think it makes people helpless.
Okay, interesting. Be interesting to hear what some of our
I would
people
like to know. You
in the
guys tell
conversation.
us in the comments. Is it helpless or helpful?
You're right. Does it bring about helplessness? Because I've heard some African people, we are strong and powerful spiritual beings. We're not, helpless, prayerful beings. I've heard people say, you know, that prayer is disempowering. It does bring back, it brings no power. Okay. Now, I bring these questions up because whatever we do, especially within a spiritual context, Ifani Sheshe. It's not, we just imitating. We're just going to do it because that's what they say do it.
Mhm.
No, that's how they say we should do it. It's like, no, we're going to think this out. We're going to figure it out. And we're going to do what's practical. We're going to do what's pragmatic. And the lawyer, he's just not talking off the top of his head. He's laying down
Mhm.
the science of mind, because that's where the battlefield is. So we can dress up any kind of way we want. We can put on anything that we want to put on. But if this up here is all inside out, upside down,
Mhm.
we just cosplaying. We can all meet at the hotel in Las Vegas, and dress up like, our ancestors and call it, a weekend, you
Put your
know?
gala on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right.
Mhm.
Dre, got a thumbs
He's-
up for you.
He said, "I agree. Ia. Prayer is used not to take responsibility or accountability."
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I've always thought that. My lawyer knows exactly what he's talking about.
So now, the time is running. Oh my goodness, we'll be here till tomorrow talking about this. But let's take a quantum leap because we did cover. yesterday, prayer as praise. Yesterday, last week, prayer as
Mm.
praise, prayer as supplication, prayer as intention. Oh, I pray that everything goes well for you. All right. Prayer as a relief from grief, oppression, and hardships. Oh, I just gotta pray so much on me. If I just pray, you understand? We are seeking to combat the grief
Per-
that's
Um,
overtaken us.
that's overtaken us.
Yeah.
Rain says, I feel like prayer is helpless only because majority of the time when someone prays, it's because they have no control over a situation or it's not going their way. So they fall to the knees and cry and beg and plead, Jesus, fix it, and get up and do the exact same thing. No change, no try, no nothing.
See. All right. Right. Yeah. So if you're not changing from within, then you're just barking up the tree, as people say, and perhaps the wrong tree. You know,
Mhm.
you should be taking a good hard look, perhaps, at your behavior and what is bringing about, the undoing of self. Okay. Prayer as an offering. Prayers for strength, for power and empowerment. Okay. So we do know that prayer is an important part of humankind. No matter where you go, somebody praying to somebody for something or against something.
I guess, yeah.
That's just
Mm-hmm.
part of humankind. It didn't start with Christianity and Islam.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't start with Jewish folks. No. Prayer been around 12,000 years ago, not 2,000. Or you know what I'm saying? It's 2,000 years and there ain't nothing. Okay. But it depends on who's in charge. Okay. Now, I want to take it another step, and I'm not going to go too heavy into it because this is something for class. You know, um, for the lecture series.
Oh, for those who have not joined yet,
Shake your finger. All right, now y'all need to get on up and join these classes.
we're
Well,
not
shake your
opening the door until y'all register for the classes.
yeah. What she said. Okay, so now where does SU come into all this? Because everywhere we go, it says that SU has to be there even before your prayers,
Yeah, and after.
before your offerings.
Hmm.
Why does SU have to be there? What does SU symbolize for all of us E5 ECC people? Oh, well, E5 is a little boy with it. No, no, that's the Century. They not on, across the river. They across the river and over the mountain and over the ocean some daggone where with whatever they got going on. Okay. SU is there because SU is our nervous system.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, because I'm talking about internal prayer, and when we start embracing the Orisha as internal beings of our body consciousness, the embodiment of us, the cosmic awareness of ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
or we, the cosmic awareness of ourselves, S- cells in the brain, stars in the universe. I mean, come on. We are sacred dust. We are elements of cosmic making, brought up from the earth herself.
Mm-hmm.
Ile, Onile. Okay. So the eschew principle from the pragmatic approach lets us know, not believe, but know that that communicator, okay, that deliverer of messages and offerings and supplications and whatever else has to be there. And who can argue that such is not what the nervous system is unto the human being and 99.9 of every other creature on the planet? You see? So as Shu becomes more than this conical shaped or this, you know, being of Orisha, Eshu is the nervous system, the networking aspect of all of creation. So when we pray, and let's just say we pray and we're in an agitated state of mind, maybe even a hateful state of mind.
Mm,
When we pray before we eat, is that not a way of calming our nervous system down? Is that not a way of, okay, everybody going to take a breath? We pray before going to bed at night. You understand? So how what we do prayerfully impacts our nervous system becomes a matter of now understanding, as we would say in Tai Chi, that we have to go through stillness before movement. We have to settle ourselves down before we approach our shrines.
mhm,
We have to take those breaths, not just to get more air in our body, but to stimulate an approach that is non irritating, that is non aggressive or agitating. You understand? What's the use of going before your shrine? It's like, well, I'm all worked up. I can't stand him. I'm going to go to my shrine and I'm going to,
hmm,
you know, you're all worked up. And this type of individual would be like, take a few deep breaths. Okay. Tell me what's going on. Why are you upset? Okay. And you see? And then that's why they even say Obatala is the Oba of all the Orisha. Not because he's, placid and, so at ease, but no,
mm,
he can operate like a seasoned martial artist who doesn't get all nerved up, but because of that is 3 or 4 times as effective as
mm.
someone who just comes out swinging all wild.
Yeah, so it sounds as though it's the approach or
Yes.
altering your approach
Yes.
when necessary, because like we spoke about in part one last week,
Mhm.
like those who are dancers,
Mhm.
that's a form, like the act of dancing is a form of prayer.
Right.
The intent of why one is dancing. You said earlier that those who are about to go into war or about to go into, just competing against each other, that moment right there. So it's
Yes.
them preparing. So it's the act
Exactly.
of versus them
Exactly.
actually, just like you said, somebody just going out swinging. The
Yeah.
person who's just going out swinging, that's
Yeah.
not the prayer. What would that be then?
Yeah.
Because what would that be then? Because if they're just going out swinging, are
Mhm.
they're defending their life, they're trying to save their life. Is that not, would you not deem that as prayer or?
I wouldn't, you know. I'm not dismissing it because
Mhm.
at some point it's instinct. You
Yeah.
understand? And it's also lack of knowledge. I don't know how else to be.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in someone who's a trained boxer, for example, is going to approach the situation differently. You see? And in either case, it can be life threatening, but the approach is different because of the study. Now we're into Ifani Sheshe. We're training. This is a
Mm-hmm.
discipline. So that when life situations or life threatening situations occur on any scale, psychologically, or
Mm-hmm.
just straight up physically. We don't need to come out swinging because we have developed strategies and ways to handle ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why people find it difficult to debate with me.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? because my nervous system is already, me and that shoe, we tight. Okay. So it's like, I'm going to pull this together and I'm going to handle the situation,
Mhm.
you know? Now, in answer to your question, say I don't do that. Say I step out of character and say it's a student and they went all off and they getting all even in my face.
Mhm.
Okay. I
Mhm.
could lose it. You know, say I could black out
Mhm.
and then I lose my job,
Right.
maybe sued,
Yeah.
you know? But because I am a martial artist and because I am a high priest, you know, I got ways to deal with that. I might even make a joke out of it. And boy, you don't sit your ass down. I will see what an old man can do. And the class, you know what I mean? They say, you calm down. What happened, man? You ain't have your grits this morning. You understand? So there's things that come about. So I would have to probably lean towards somebody just coming out swinging and all blacked out. That's
Mhm.
not a form of prayer.
No. Okay. That's funny how you said that. Reminds me of a pataki of
Mhm,
Rumila and Eshu. Eshu had went
mhm.
to Rumila to consult
Yeah.
Idafa, and he got mad and hit Rumila upside the head, knocked him upside the head, had him bleeding. And the wife of Rumila was also like, "Why would you do that? Why would you
Yeah.
do that?" And Rumila was just like, "Don't worry about it." He still went forward, completed the
Same.
Idafa, and gave him what he wanted and told him what he needed so he can go. And she was performing like that because
Mhm.
he wanted the the grace or the approval of Ogun.
You
So
say.
whatever he was trying to get from Rumila during that
Mhm.
divination, he went and took it to Ogun and told Ogun that Ogun can divine of, and you
Mhm.
know, as we have been taught
Mhm.
of Ogun, he is not, he's not like a calm, mellow person. So
Mhm.
even when Ogun got what he got from Eshu to Divine, he became arrogant. His mom warned him, all type of
Mhm.
stuff, and all hell just broke loose. So it's just a pataki that I wanted to share of
Yeah.
how strategy works. Like Arumila seeing, okay, it's cool. You want to
Yeah.
show out, you want to do your thing. I'm
Mhm.
gonna still give you what you want. And he warned him,
Yeah.
he wasn't just trying to not give him a dafa. He
Mhm.
was trying to warn him.
Put the
He was
wisdom
being
on.
apprehensive,
Right.
but he gave it to him. He
Mhm.
as Shu took it to Ogun. Ogun, all
Mhm.
things went haywire. You know, it
And
didn't go too well for him.
and
They
that
were
shoe
warned.
sitting back. I mean, and a rumor sitting back like I told you.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. So we're at a level and stage where we can pull on so many instances, patakis, odus, uh, each other, our
yeah.
stories, and say, you know, prayerful people are deeper than that. You know,
Mhm,
prayerful people are going to take things into consideration, and prayer becomes a form of meditation in that sense. You know, prayer becomes a way to enhance our character development. Prayer becomes a means to embracing nature, creation. And like I
mhm,
say, and I put in elder reflections,
mhm,
okay? How I'm out in nature and how nature speaks to me, you know,
mhm.
because I'm of that peripheral. Now, if I didn't have a nervous system,
Yeah.
none of this would make any sense. It'd be like you wouldn't be able to take in anything sensory. And because of studies within the Eastern sciences, yoga, Tai Chi, and all of that, it's like, yeah, we do have some control over
Mhm,
our nervous system. We can train our nervous system to see beyond sight, to
mhm,
be beyond a three-dimensional, you know? Okay? So
mhm.
there's so much more to prayer. We could go into prayer three, but people see Sacred Waters Healing Temple. and consider classes. Okay. Got 5 minutes. Okay. Since I've been resurrected, and as a title of one of my novels, War and Resurrection, I
Mhm.
just started to think about, well, what is this whole thing about resurrection? Now, in Yoruba, the word for resurrection is ajinde, Ajinde.
Mhm.
So these words were in existence before colonization. And there's one word in particular that comes about that I've found very interesting. And this word is akuda aya. Akuda aya is when a person dies in one place, but yet they're seen somewhere else. So if I, creator forbid, fall out right now and I'm dead right here, and then you go back to Louisiana and you see me standing on your doorstep, it's like, no, you was proclaimed dead, but Baba, how you here? I'm like, I don't know. You know, all I know is I'm here. But stories like this have existed in our tradition prior to Christianity,
Mhm. He is risen.
or
Mhm.
she has risen.
She has risen. Yeah.
Yeah, you understand? Within our context.
Mhm.
So it makes me wonder, as a scholar, a student of knowledge, is this also known in other cultures and traditions?
Yeah.
You know, or what we already see is not relegated to Christianity.
Mhm.
That there's been resurrections going back to ancient Kemet, 4, 5, 6,000 years ago. There's nothing new about resurrections. I just found it interesting as a part of the lore of our culture, Ifa Isheshe, that there's a word for it, Kuda Aya, which and these elders are sharing with the researchers that they know of situations that have actually happened where they know the person died.
Mhm.
And then someone else said, well, they just saw that person, over in the next town. It was like, no,
Mhm.
how can that be? And then they find out it was the same person.
Mhm.
And then I'll have people that I've, share this with. Now, oh, that couldn't happen. Oh, that couldn't happen. I said, well, when the last time you been to church? Oh, Sunday. So it could happen over there, but it can't happen over here.
Mhm.
Hmm. Back to that. Back to the beginning of our conversation. We only take what's real based on what we're told and what we're rewarded to
Mhm.
not contest,
Yeah.
even to the dismissal of our own culture.
That's the word.
So we've had people resurrecting way before 2,000 years ago.
Mhm.
And when I wrote this concept in the novel, Amina, resurrecting, dying, and then
Mhm.
coming back
Mhm.
allegorically, in a spiritual context. That's what we're all doing. But in order to do that, we have to reach the God self within us.
Yeah. She had a choice in that book of
Yes,
whether or not she was wanting to stay,
or
or to rise up. And she was
yes,
like, she would do it even though it was painful, even though it was
yes.
hard.
And that's goes back to permissive suggestion. I'm permitting myself. I have a choice. And Baluku always was giving her a choice. Do you want to resurrect? And I asked that to people out in the congregation. The question is yours to ask yourself. Are you all over the place about some other character in another book that's not your life
Mm-hmm.
under some theocratic governing that says this one individual resurrected? We ain't
Mm-hmm.
gonna get into the whole human sacrifice thing. That's a topic for another day. But now resurrected, and you feel as though he's the only one ever, and that you yourself cannot learn from the story, the
Mm-hmm.
greatest story ever told. You can't learn from that and internalize that and prayerful into oneself, yourself about that, and unearth yourself,
Mm-hmm.
resurrect yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hmm. So yeah, prayer.
Mm-hmm. And resurrection. For those who have
Yeah,
made it all the way to the very end of this, coming
yeah.
up on the end, and leave a comment if you yourself are gonna be a participant in your own resurrection.
Hmm.
Let's do that. Let's
Yeah,
let's see how many people are willing to be a participant
yeah.
of their own resurrection.
And being prayerful is a strategy to do that. I won't say it's the only one because then we can talk about meditational sciences. You know what I mean? Herbals. That assist in detoxing body, mind, and spirit. You know, but because we're talking about prayer,
Mm-hmm.
you know, prayer is emphasis. And even when we do the herbs, we sing praise prayer to Osain. Ashe Omo Osain, Ewe Aye, Ashe Omo Osain. Away, aye. So we're calling on that spiritual essence and energy of Hossein to come to us as we're consecrating, you know, life through the healing herbs, the airway. See, so prayers are clearly more than on the knees and hands folded. Prayer is praise. Prayer is love.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said he has to be. He will be a part of his own resurrection.
For real. All right, Dre.
I love when I am using the herbs to cleanse and then, putting in the water to
Mm-hmm.
wash, to prepare, cleansing for the house
Mm-hmm.
or to even to prepare cleansing for days and
Mm-hmm. Decades.
electives.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can enhance it, by the praise chants, and the connection with Osei.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it all becomes a working knowledge,
Ashe.
and it enhances. It doesn't necessarily make it one thing or another, but it enhances. It's a technique, just like I work out with the Indian clubs and the mace and all of that. I'm learning better techniques, so I get more out of it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so that you know it's not just doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's doing it with that sense of sacredness, that sense of divine purpose,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I had a great talk with Iyawa Adeola, uh, and we were just kind of sharing that our goodness is felt amongst the people, that we encounter,
Mm-hmm.
that we are the prayerfulness,
Mm-hmm.
of any given situation, no matter where we are, wherever we are, see, and to kind of accept that and embrace it and enhance it. We're bringing about goodness to the world. And that's what Arumila has set for us to do in Ifani Sheshe. Bring goodness to the world. That's called Ipo Re Re. Bring goodness to the world. And how do you do that? By becoming Iniyangi D. And how do you do that? Your character, the oneness with nature, the moving forward without always backsliding and finding excuses. You know? But
Mm-hmm.
what are some of the techniques and strategies of that? Well, prayer unto and into self
Mm-hmm. Consistently.
consistently.
I think that matters a lot versus, praying and hoping or waiting for a thing to appear
Hmm.
appear or to things to fall out or opportunities, but just the matter of being consistent
Yeah.
again and it's showing up again and again, like just coming, like even us even outside of our Sundays gathering here, throughout the week we're checking in on different occasions to debrief about things or share insights about something, or just what's up, what's going on, and this and that is, it's a continuation of consistency,
Right. The
and
goodness.
and, and
Yeah.
goodness is happening.
Yes. And goodness is happening.
Didn't,
Excellent.
not even just between the two of us, like other people who have come, like this coming from all type of different paths. They're like, oh, I experienced this, or this was a bad, this happened, or I just want a little more information, and then they're staying, they're coming and staying, and so things are changing even in their lives as well. So it's about consistency
Yes.
in doing these things as well. So. But also, I wanted to leave out for those who's going to take Tawede with us for another 48 days.
Ah. Well, speaking of Tawede, because this marks the last day of our 48 days.
Mm-hmm.
Now, folks, I know we're going a little over. We'll probably give it another 2 hours, so because get a little snack, right? Another 20 minutes, right? But I was thinking this morning about what I've accomplished over these 48 days.
Mm-hmm.
16 times three. Okay, and I I I had to nod my head because for 48 days I only ate one meal a day
Mm-hmm.
at or around or after 6 o'clock. You know, made my smoothies. I did liquids and working out.
Mm-hmm.
I said I was going to focus on the three L's for 48 days. I know you're going to laugh when I say this, but that's all right.
Lentils. I was gonna say liquids, but no, no, no. This
Okay.
carrot day speaking lentils.
Yeah, I'm going to check on my lentils. Lentils, leafy greens.
Mm,
Okay, my mustard greens, my turnip greens, my collard greens. All, all,
mm-hmm.
all of the leafy greens. Okay, and love.
And love and
And
ashe.
love metaphysically.
Benefit. Oh, okay. Abora yeah, but she say there's many ways of praying. That's a new name, Bright Soul Rod. Never heard of that name, but welcome to. Thank you for your chat. Thank you for joining in. Yes, there is many ways of praying.
Yes, yes. And
Mm,
and and, and so those 48 days of intensity have led me to deepen my prayerfulness into and unto self.
mhm.
What's Sister Rain talking about?
She says she's ready to go in on a pilgrimage with us. I would love to join the next Tawede. The fasting will be hard. I'll go about eating healthier meals instead.
Well, that's fine because we're not about doing anything that is not going to be better for you,
Yeah,
you know? So I did the intermittent fasting.
that's what he
But
did.
that's what I did. I didn't project that on anyone. It was just a
Mhm.
story that we shared. Okay, well, what you doing? Okay, well, this is what I'm doing. No, no comment, judgment, unless a question was asked.
Mhm.
I knew that I was going to deal with those three L's because that is in line with my deepening approach to longevity.
Mhm.
That's why I posted myself with the Indian bells,
Mhm.
the Indian clubs. Okay, and letting people know that at this ripe young age of 74, you know, I'm still doing it.
Mhm.
I'm still doing it. I'm not telling you. I'm not even just teaching you. I'm demonstrating it. You know.
Mhm.
So I know you talked about me. Well, I mean, you take some pictures of you in the kitchen and all kind of stuff. I said, look, I'm a private person. I don't know why they stealing my cooking secrets or whatever. But the whole thing is, cook up my lentils, cook up my greens, and put love into everything that I'm doing. Metaphysical love, a love supreme, as John Coltrane would say.
Mhm.
Okay, and then know that it is enhancing my longevity. And so, what do I have to give the people after 48 days of this?
Mhm.
I'm breathing in longevity, breathing in existence, not more dogma, not more indoctrination, not more, the Udu says this, Odu thumping, not more, you got to go make more sacrifices, not any of that. I've I've been there. So
Mhm.
the use of me becoming older, if I'm still playing the same game within my own mind, much less within the minds of others.
Mhm.
So longevity. So yes, Sister Rain. Okay, you don't have to fast. You can just start thinking about how you're going to eat more healthy.
Yeah.
You say,
Mm.
and I'll send you a recipe for lentils, mustard greens, collard greens, turnip greens, brown rice, you know, uh,
Mhm.
wild rice or black rice, black beans, all this.
Mhm.
Well, you got to eat this. You need your protein on it. Yeah, well, you can get all of that, you know,
Yeah. from
from learning that there are ways to get it.
Yeah.
Besides, a 12-pound hamburger or whatever.
Right. Or the powder that got a whole bunch of sugars inside of it that turns into diabetes that people don't talk about, but they want you to just start um putting all this powder inside of your drinks and stuff. Like, no.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think that is, I love that how you mentioned those, the select foods that you mentioned reminds me of your grandma. So
yeah,
while those who may be listening, whether they knew their grandmother, have a direct, connection to go back to grandma's house or something like that,
mm,
or don't know at all, but finding those ways to access that stuff so that you can put it into your meals
yes,
and practice it continually so that as your kids, whether they're 5, 10, 15, you're
mhm,
introducing something new to them and you're consistently doing it, then they'll be like, well, my mama, my father did this.
yeah,
And they may
yeah,
not even know grandma. They probably haven't even seen grandma,
right,
considering so many families that I know who are estranged from toxic households.
yeah,
Okay.
mm,
What's the best way to say it? Certain ways of eating have not been shown to people younger than me
mhm,
because they are not at home anymore. They are not going back to grandma's house.
right,
Mom didn't introduce me to my grandma that much or my grandpa that much because blah 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 blah. But whatever, you
right,
know, get your food, do your practices, introduce it to your children, make it something that's traditional in your home so you can introduce them to your own
right,
Isheshe.
right.
Yeah,
And in response to that, which is very insightful, you know, is that I'm here.
that part. I'm here too. We all here.
Yeah, but you a whole lot younger than I.
I'm here too to tell y'all.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm here
We
too. Okay.
all right. But y'all know what I'm saying. you know, So um, I'm a great grandpa. You understand?
Oh.
You you ain't even a grand yet, so
So
calm
you can
down.
tell me how to make some peas.
Yeah, and not burn the brown rice, okay?
Well,
Or
yeah.
not undercook it. You don't use
Speaking of that,
undercook the rice.
Seven just called me the other day since I'm not at home. I'm out here. And he said, "Mom, we need to figure out what we're gonna do because I just burned the brown rice." I was like, "You have to put more water in it. You
Oh,
gotta
did
keep
you
adding.
ask him? I told you. Okay,
You just gotta keep putting more water in it."
right. See, you learning already. So, but just to say, see, this becomes okay. Yeah, okay, great. All right. So we'll continue these types of conversations because this is what makes us, more than religious. This is what makes us, existing and coexisting, and the purpose is longevity,
Mhm.
and the purpose is honoring the goodness within us and among us.
Ashe.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else can be more important than that,
Mm-hmm.
pragmatically speaking.
Ashe.
Ashe?
Ashe, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, those who have joined us today. Those returning, those new, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you guys. Thank you, Aloye, for bringing about a phenomenal, phenomenal word upon praying. I pray that this video finds all those who are seeking, different insight, different perspective to praying. So whatever path that you're on, let's pray that this message finds you.
Ashe.
Ashe. All right. Till next time. The next part of Orisha Insights. What can they expect?
Inayangidi.
Any young giddy. All
Yeah.
right.
To become that being, that human being who has transcended, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Who has been uplifted.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Yangidi, look forward next Sunday, 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And bring your pad and your pencil and your good book.
Mhm.
All right. Odabo.
Odabo, everyone.